Recording from Title One Studio in Sandy, Utah, you're listening to the GOAT, the greatest of all title companies. Hello, my name's Steph Scholl, and I'm here with Scott Stevenson, also known as
Now, Silver Dollar Man. Now, there's a major change coming that will shake up how some cash deals are handled. So, starting March 1st of next year, 2026, there is a new federal rule from the U.S. Treasury's Financial Crimes Enforcement Net.
And to tell us all about this role, we have one of our escrow officers, Brenda Johnson-Nicholson. So, Brenda, tell us what exactly is this rule that's going to be happening?
This is going to be a really fun rule for those of you that like to accept cash offers from trusts and organizations, meaning LLCs, limited liability, limited partnerships, organizations, corporations, any of those. It used to be that we didn't have to report anything on those, but FinCEN is now going to require reporting on all of those transactions. So if a cash purchaser comes in and it's either a trust or a corporation of any type, we now have to fill out enormous amounts of paperwork that is very intrusive to both buyer and seller. So we didn't think it was going to be seller intrusive, but it's also seller intrusive.
Wow.
So, originally, this was going to be happening in December. Why do you think they moved it to March?
This rule is such a big rule and it's going to entail so much that nobody was ready for it. Alta just barely even got the applications for it. This is the application for the seller. It is 12 pages long of teeny tiny little information bits that they are going to require us to fill out in order to even get this taken care of. This is just the seller's packet. It doesn't even include the buyer's packet. And it includes stuff like we have to give who the beneficiaries are, their social security numbers, birth dates, how the addresses. It is incredible the amounts of information that they're going to require in all the way through everybody. So on the corporations and stuff, we have to get down to the person. So it can't be an LLC signing for an LLC. We have to go all the way down to the people, and then we have to collect all that information for everybody that's a signer on that LLC.
Why do you think the government wants to know where all this money is coming from? What do you think, Brenda?
This is part of the Patriot Act. And it's a matter of seeing where the money is so that nobody's laundering funds. It's a protection for everybody, but it's not going to feel that way to people's clients. It's going to feel like the government's sticking their nose into things that they don't want the government's nose in. There's not going to be any way around it, however. They've even told us that we have to fill it out. It's on any transaction from $0, unlimited. So on any amount. So we can no longer even do a courtesy deed for somebody from their house into their LLC because we would have to fill out all of this paperwork on that. Even though there's no money transfers or anything, this documentation, if you're changing a house from your personal names into your LLC, all has to be filed with the government. The only exception to that is for estate planning, meaning if it's you own the house already in your personal names and you're putting it into your trust where you're the trustees and the grantors, then we can do it without any having to fill out this paperwork. But that's our one exception is estate planning.
So I want to know, like, for agents and loan officers, how do they explain this to their clients? What's your tip for that?
So loan officers don't have to unless it's a hard money lender, because loan officers are already collecting this. It's loan application. So that's 75% of transactions won't be affected. It's only the 25% cash deals that will be accepted. So mostly this is going to affect our real estate agents because when you have a buyer that wants to put this automatically into, his LLC or his corporation or anything like that, the agent's going to want to forewarn them that buying cash is not as easy as it once was because now, in essence, we as the settlement agent are playing the lender and we have to collect all of that personal information that they didn't have to fill out because they were getting a loan. We now have to fill it out and send it into the government so that they know where that money is coming from.
Well, I've got a couple of quick questions for you then. So how common are cash deals? I think you mentioned
They're about 25%.
About 25%.
Mhm.
And is this more costly, or who is this more costly to, or is it just paperwork?
It's just paperwork.
Okay.
So it's not a cost thing at all. It's just a matter of filling out all of that paperwork, which people are putting it into their LLCs and trusts and stuff in order to avoid this. And it's no longer going to avoid it. And I think the government realized that people were doing that to avoid this. And that's how people are laundering money. And not that all cash buyers are bad, most of them are not, but they've already caught so many that they've decided to move it across the board, because it used to be that it was a certain amount of a threshold and it was only in certain states like New York and Florida.
Mm.
They've been doing this for years on cash deals. We're now all just being involved because they've caught so much money laundering, and now they don't know who's buying what property where. They've now put it nationwide.
I mean, that's a good thing that they're catching this. But for title companies, you said it's a lot more paperwork. So what's that process going to look like on these cash deals?
Well, rather than a 10-minute closing, just to fill out this information is a 45-minute deal. And that's if they have all of the information on hand with them. So we are hoping to get some of it or most of it filled out pre-closing, but it's stuff that we have to look over and go through. So it's not going to be the fast transactions that we're used to having when it's a cash deal anymore. It's going to be more like a loan closing, just because of the information gathering that has to occur. Like I said, we're going to try to do it pre-closing to hopefully help that process, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be completely finished and done. So it's going to be a time thing, not a money thing.
Well, so is there anything else that you want to share about this whole process?
My best suggestion is, and hopefully we're able to warn agents that this is coming down the pipeline, because it might determine how people actually want to do cash deals. If they buy it in their personal names as the cash deal, they're not going to have any of this information that they're going to have to fill out. It's only in trusts and corporations. But that includes seller financing. We have to get all the information on the seller financing. If mom and dad do the loan, we have to do all of the information on that. None of those deals get out of hard money. So there may be a quote unquote loan on the property, but because those people are not collecting this information, it's considered a cash deal by the government, and we have to collect that information. So just because there's a seller financing or a hard money loan, or mom and dad are giving you the loan for it, it doesn't matter. That's considered cash in the guise of the government, because there's not an institution of it like a bank that's collecting and sending that information out to the government. So that then becomes part of our obligation to do. So the more agents know, the more prepared they're going to be to say, hey, this is what's going to happen on this. And you're going to have to give all this information. Well, the title company will be in contact with you. We're going to try to pre-collect it and stuff. But just so you know, it's intrusive and you're going to have to provide it. It's not optional to not provide it. It has to be collected. And if they pre-warn their cash buyers, we're going to have less of an issue as it gets closer to closing, because they're already aware of that, but they're going to have to give this information out.
So a quick question for you. I know a lot of times with cash deals, like it's not like a loan that it takes 30 days or whatnot. Can you still close as fast, or?
You can, because there's not the underwriting aspect to it. Because there's not that bank involved, this will just include some additional documentation that has to be filled out. I wish it was 1 or 2 pages. It's not. Like I said, just the seller packet is 12 pages long. They haven't pulled out the buyer one yet, so I haven't seen that, but I am positive it's even this or more so intensive, because that's where they're trying to find out where the money's coming from. So I think the buyer side is going to be even more documentation than this one, unfortunately.
So we wanted to bring you on and talk about this now. Even though now it's been pushed out, it's a good thing for agents to be aware of so that they can be discussing it. And so thank you for breaking down really what this new rule entails.
Well, and if they know anybody that wants to change it into an LLC or a trust or do anything like that, them pre-warning their clients to do it now, because anything on March 1st, beginning March 1st or after, this paperwork has to be filled out. They're going to change it into LLC and they're thinking about it and they might do it now. Avoid the paperwork right this very second, rather than waiting till March 1st and then getting caught up in this. I mean, you've got to fill it out after March 1st. No exceptions.
Well, at the end of the day, I think that's what makes Title I the greatest of all title companies, because it's people like you, Brenda, who care about every single closing. So just a reminder, if you aren't doing business with Brenda, you should be. You should be.